All right, welcome everybody to the week 22 open Q&A live stream. And in this live stream, I'm just going to talk off a little bit as far as the summer schedule and different ways that you guys can follow along with what I am doing, because there is definitely going to be some changes that I have needed to make on my channel. And if you've been around my channel for a while or you've seen a lot of the content, you can see that majority of the content I have make is focused on me teaching inside of the classroom. And at that moment, I don't know how long that is going to continue. So what I have been working on behind the scenes a little bit is developing some new content, which I should have probably been doing a little bit earlier and a little bit more consistently, but that's okay. And it's something that's new. I am working on getting some, different technology, getting that used to, and also dabbling a little bit more into the social media. So that's why I just wanted to let you guys know, even though I've had all of these accounts around, I haven't really been as active in them just because I've been focused on teaching and uploading videos to YouTube. But, now with everything that's kind of happened around with education and my ability to teach inside of a classroom, I really realized that, I really need to start branching out my content. I need to make sure that I have the ability to make mathematical videos at home and ones that you guys are going to enjoy. So I am definitely spending some more time on my content, creating them. For those of you guys that are members, you are starting to see some of the activity that I'm doing as far as the new types of videos, the new types of content that I'm making for my videos. So I'm really excited to start releasing that out to you guys. I'm not going to be able to release all of the videos, but a lot of the videos I will do. But I am slowing down my content schedule just because those videos do take a lot more time as far as editing, something that I am working on editing and just really just kind of preparing for those videos. So in addition to that, as well as preparing for next school year, it's a lot and I don't want to overburden myself, but I also want to make sure that I am spending my time connecting with you guys to make sure that I am kind of taking you guys along for the journey. So again, thank you for all of you that are members on the channel that have been helping me support me in making this kind of transition, because I am kind of using the YouTube memberships to, one, kind of provide you with early access content, as well as to kind of get some of that first step stuff out there that some people are being able to kind of give me feedback in. So there's a lot more things with the YouTube membership if that is something that you're interested in. If not, I plan on going live every single Sunday for you guys throughout the rest of this year, even throughout the summer months. I know that some of you are done with school and you're like, cool, I don't need this guy anymore. But I also know that some of you are taking some summer classes, or some of you just are really upset about the way the year ended, and I might be a little bit of normalcy or bringing you back to just like the way things kind of were before 2020 kind of started. So I know everything is definitely kind of crazy, but I do see a lot of you guys out there, and that is awesome to see. Brian, what did you eat? What do you mean, what did I eat? But I do see a lot of you guys out there. That is good. That's good to see. I'm happy to see you guys from there. Yes, so a lot of questions. So I do have a couple questions. Actually, I don't have a lot of questions. I only have two questions that I'm going to address. And so those questions came on the Google Forms. I think if you guys look in the description, you'll see that I do have the Google Form. I try to make the post. I was bad again. Sorry, I got busy on Saturday. I did not make my community post on Saturday, which I tried to do. So you guys can either provide your questions on that community post, which I don't prefer, but I do like if you guys use the community form or the link, the form, which I do provide in that post. It's also in the description of this live stream as well. So you can always just go ahead and submit your question before the next live stream, and I'll do my best. I can't respond to every single question. Some of the questions, yes, I either, like multivariable calculus, that's not something that I've gone over in a very, very long time. So it's not something that I'm going to be able to answer questions from. In addition, there's some things that I just haven't taught in a long time, and I unfortunately don't spend a lot of time preparing for the live stream as far as going over the questions. So if it's not something that I'm able to like quickly understand or work on, then I'm not able to cover it on the live stream as well. So I do apologize for that, guys. I did open up a Discord server where you guys can also provide your questions, because I do feel sorry. I know you guys, come to a live stream sometimes wanting to get your answers. So I did provide that the Discord server for you guys to kind of work on that as well, which I believe that should also be in the description. I don't know if I took that off or not. Should be. I guess I'll have to put that back in there. I don't know why that's not in there. But either way, yeah. So the Discord, it's been in my previous definitely live streams. That you can use that as well, and I'm gonna have some changes for that as well for you guys. Yeah, I know. I've made a couple of TikToks, and I gotta work up. I gotta step up my game. It's one thing I've been trying to do for like the last year, and I get so spread apart. But I do have a lot of content ideas that I wanted to start creating on TikTok. Then I just haven't had time because I've been so crazy. Especially since we got kind of sent home from teaching, I've just been focused on finishing up my year and everything like that. But I also did want to let you guys know that, so we'll be going live again next Sunday, and also so we'll be going, I don't know what I was going to say. I'll just skip it in from there. Brian, what did you eat? Just curious. I don't know what you mean for these curious, but I did have some teriyaki flank steak with broccoli and rice for dinner tonight. So hopefully maybe that helps you out. All right. Well, hey, little Mexico, nature is awesome. Summerside, yeah, food fetish. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Xander, good to see you. Tarika, just for fun. Mr. Beefy, thanks so much. Yeah, random person, thank you very much. That's awesome. I'm wondering if you have any videos that cover 12 math. I don't know what grade 12 math would do, but I have a lot of videos. I have videos from Algebra 1 all the way through Calculus on my channel. So I am working on some different things as far as updating a lot of my older content as well. And that just makes everything very, very busy for me. But either way, guys, I'm looking forward to that. Well, just for fun, that's not very nice. I'll have to hide that from you. Jeez. Okay, I asked a question for the first given the measure. Oh, it's angle A. Okay, thank you. Danko, that's awesome. I didn't know if you were going to be on. Is this angle? Yeah, measure of angle C. Okay, I'm so happy you jumped on because I was like, I don't know. I didn't know what angle he was referring to. Thank you. And I actually deleted your response because the cool thing about the Google Forms is once I get it, I can just delete it. So therefore, for the next live stream, I only get the ones that are new, and so therefore it's really easy for me to see what I need to answer. And I deleted your question, and then I realized I didn't get that answer A. Why is my head so shiny? It's probably because the lighting. I didn't have time to really adjust the lighting, but I do have a shiny head, and so yeah, that's been cool. All right, so let me go and get through these kind of 2 questions, and I do kind of want to address them, and then what I'll do is whatever extra time that I have after that, I will just kind of hang out and maybe see what other questions I have from you. This is Dad. Well, just for fun, I'm not really. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. Why don't you grow hair in your head? Well, if you guys, if you guys looked at my Instagram, you actually would see some older videos I posted when I was in high school, as well as when I was in 8th grade, of when I actually had hair. So if you are interested to see what I looked like with some hair, or at least what I looked like back in 8th grade, and I think in my high school picture was maybe posted, maybe not. I posted it to my students. But I know at least one of my flashbacks I put on the Instagram account, so you guys can see a old Mr. McLogan back in the day. But that's on Instagram as well. All right. All right, so let me go and get through. Thank you, James, so much. Thank you, Jordan. Wallace, I'm getting a lot of comments. That's awesome for you guys. Why do you not consider online school? That's a really, really good question. I'm actually going to come back to that one from you because that is getting distracted. I'm just going to write that in there. And I'm going to let you guys know what I had to do. I'll let you guys know what I had to do as far as getting distracted online school. Okay. Because I think that's going to be something really big coming up into this upcoming year. People don't know what to expect. We might be going back to online. We might be in the classroom. How is this going to work? So I'll go and touch on that. I did want to touch these two questions. So the first one is from Christian.Denico on Instagram. And again, you guys can give me a name or a handle to shout out, or you can just leave it as is. Perfectly fine, however you want to roll. But this question is from Christian, which is the ambiguous case, which is one of the more common types of questions students have when they're dealing with the law of signs, which I am kind of changing up the I changed up my video things. I don't know if you guys like that better or not, or if it was smaller was easier. But either way, I think this one was kind of cool. All right, so the first thing, whenever we're doing with the ambiguous case, the first thing we want to do is just draw a picture. Now, the cool thing I notice here is this was angle A, right? So I know I have an obtuse triangle. So I'm going to say that's A. Now, I don't know where B and C are, so I'm just going to do that's B and that's C. Angle A is 114 degrees. All right, from AB is 34. BC is 12. It's not to scale, right? Oh, sorry, BC. Oops, that's definitely not to scale. But that's okay. The triangle can be drawn many, many different ways, guys. So we don't need to be worried about this. But we know that this is at least the ambiguous case is this far as being angle side, okay? Because really, whereas B and C could be anywhere from on there. Now, the important thing with the ambiguous case, now this doesn't look like this could work, right? At least the way that this is drawn, and at least that no triangle exists. But we're not going to know until we don't want to assume that. We're going to want to actually test this out. Now, there's a couple different ways we can test this out, all right? First of all, is being able to use just the law of signs. Now, when we take into the law of signs, if we're going to have a value that's going to be like undefined, that's not going to work, then we know that we're going to have no triangle, right? So the nice thing about the ambiguous case when you have an obtuse angle is you can't have the two triangle case. So this is the ambiguous case, but it's the ambiguous case of either there's a triangle or there's no triangle. There is not that case that where we have the one or two triangles, right? Where we have like this rotating triangle here. That this ambiguous case is impossible because we already have an obtuse angle. So either this triangle exists or it doesn't. Now, this doesn't look like it's going to exist based on the way that I drew it, but I could have just drawn it bad. So let's go ahead and apply the law of signs and then go and see what it is. Now, we want to find angle C, right? So by using the law of signs, I'll have 12 over the sine of 114 degrees is equal to 34 over, why am I doing it that way? We want to solve for, I'll just do it right there. So we want to solve for C, right? So typically when you're doing the law of signs though, you don't want to use this version of the law of signs. You want to do the law of signs where the sine of C, or the angle, whatever you're solving for, is in the numerator. So I'm just going to rewrite this as sine of 114 degrees all over 12 equals the sine of C over 34. Now you can see I can write this as the sine of C equals 34 times, you'd multiply 34 on both sides. Ah, that's a problem here. That's not going to be good. 34 times the sine of 114 degrees all over 12. Now, typically I don't do many of these problems because I don't have a calculator, but I do have my calculator here with me. So I'm going to make sure that I am in the correct mode here, which I wasn't. I need to be in degree mode. That'd be 34 times the sine of 114 degrees divided by 12, and that's going to be 2.58. That doesn't sound good. If you know anything about sine, the sine of an angle can never be larger than 1. Okay, and then you do sine inverse of 2.588, and that's going to equal C. And guess what, guys? When you take the sine inverse of that, you are going to have an example that does not exist. So I have a lot of videos on the ambiguous case. And I've covered this a lot in my live streams as well. The one thing I would just mention here is, obviously when you have an acute angle, one thing is obviously that there's an error, right? Domain error right there. So when you're doing the ambiguous case, there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can also go ahead and do the talking about the height and being able to finding like that value h and comparing that without getting too much in detail of that. The one thing I would just notice is there's no possible way there's going to be two triangles because you already have an obtuse angle. And basically just apply the law of sines, and you can see already, like the way I drew the triangle, just none of them is going to exist. There is no possible triangle. It doesn't even make sense to draw it like that. So hopefully at least that helps you out from there. A lot of the more common ambiguous case is when it's not obtuse, and therefore you have to check to see if there are, once you find that angle, you have to check to see if there's another possible angle from there. And yeah, it can be messy. A lot of times it can just be it can be a lot of work. But actually you can also get in through, again, another question, Asiful, somebody gave me a full name. I didn't want to say the whole thing, but it probably would be in context. And if you're one of my students, you know that I just badger a lot of people's names. So I always just apologize. I'm sorry. That's why I hate going live, because I always see people's names and I'm like, I have to pronounce people's names on these live streams. Like, oh, this is horrible. But anyways, I try to do my best, and I just want to be honest with you guys. It's not something that is, you might say, hey, you're really good at doing math, and I'm really, really bad at pronouncing people's names. It's just not one of those things. Even when you tell it to me correctly, I have a very difficulty pronouncing it. Okay. Yeah, Danico, you are all set, my friend. All right, let's get into, so in this question, it was about the bearings, and they gave me a word problem. And again, I don't really like doing word problems because I don't want to present the word problem up on the, or actually, I have the capability, guys. I probably should just go ahead and, so the cool thing about the Google Forms is you guys can upload pictures to me. And so what I should probably do is like take a picture, and then I can upload those pictures into my live stream. That would probably be the cool way to go. Okay. Well, if you guys will start submitting some questions, some pictures into me, then I'll start doing that. It shouldn't take me a little bit more time. I just got to make a picture, and then I can like insert the picture on my live stream, and yeah, we can go from there. So I'll give that a shot. But so yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Okay. Yeah, I got some good live stream ideas. Hopefully we'll spend the time, if you guys joining me on the summer answering questions, we'll work on this. So anyways, the student was asking us a question about bearings, and they had some word problem. I was like, I'm not going to copy it, but I know exactly the type of problem that they had. And so I want to give you some advice. First of all, when you're solving any problem with bearings, you have to just understand how to graph a bearing, because graphing a bearing is very different from graphing a angle in standard form. It's not very different actually, but it's just important to know that standard form, looks like this. That's called standard form. We start, the initial side is on the positive right axis, and then we rotate counterclockwise to get to our angle. That is our standard form. Well, when we're dealing with a bearing, if I give you the same angle, but it's a bearing, our initial side is going to be due north. So you always start due north, and you rotate clockwise is now going to be positive, okay? And that's really kind of the only difference. So if you can just remember that, practice it a couple times, you'll be good to go. Obviously, we could also use cardinal directions like north, 30 degrees east, and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just using an angle like 45 degrees, a bearing of 45 degrees, this is a bearing of 45 degrees. This is an angle of 45 degrees, and this would be a bearing of 45 degrees. So still the same measurement, but you can see, and obviously in this case, they're the same direction. That's not always going to be the case. Obviously, once you start going past 45 degrees, they actually go in different directions. So 45 degrees looks like the last angle that they would be the same. So I didn't mean to do that to you or confuse you that way. But you need to know bearings. And then the other thing you need to understand, like if you're doing a word problem, like you're in trigonometry, right? I'm assuming the student is. So you're in a chapter on trigonometry, and you have a word problem. You're going to have a triangle, right? Like look for the triangle. And obviously you want, Casanova, I will get to the questions later, but you are going to have to go in timeout because not everybody needs to see your question. I will get to everybody, but please, guys, we don't need to spam everybody in the chat. All right. So yeah, we know it's going to be a word problem, right? And what's the important thing about I'm sorry, we know it's going to be a triangle. So obviously look for right triangles. But again, if it's an oblique triangle, meaning it doesn't have a right angle, then look for, like we did in the last example, look for the law of sines or look for the law of cosines. But either way, you're going to have to create a triangle, okay? So that's the important point that I want to make because that was their question, or that was kind of like similar to their problem. So they had, I don't know, a plane, a boat, doesn't really matter. Same thing, it flies at, or it leaves a point, I think their point was like P, at a bearing of 120 degrees. Now again, we don't need to be perfect here, right? But we could say, all right, well, here's due north, east, south, west. Oh, and another tip that I give my students, whenever you see a bearing, just draw the cardinal directions, north, east, south, west. So, well, from here to here's 90, here to here's 180. So here to 128, it's going to be somewhere there. And I don't know how far they went. But they have some distance here. And let's just, I don't know. Let's call their distance 10. Doesn't really matter. Then it changes directions. Well, this is important, right? Now, obviously, we know like in a plane or boat is not going to make like that sharp of a turn. But for mathematical sake, that I like to say, we're going to assume that's what's going to happen. So it travels from here to here. Then at this point, it needs to go ahead and move again. So we're going to create another cardinal directions. And we're saying, all right, now the plane, boat, whatever is from here to here. Well, now it needs to turn again, a bearing east, south, west. Now it's going to go 295. Now this is kind of big because 295, like here to here is 90, here to here is 180, all the way is 270, right? 295 looks like it's going, oh, that's almost like to 300. Like, I don't know, so that's 270, that'd be 295. So looks like it's kind of going back far that way. Now let's just say, I don't know, let's just say it looks like that. Okay, so it almost like turns all the way back around going that way because from there to there, so this was a bearing of 128 degrees. This was a bearing of 295 degrees. Then basically what they're asking here is, what is this direction? And I'm going to have to use a different color here just so. I think the question that I read was like, what is that distance? Let's just call that D. Now, the main important thing that I want students to know is, how are you going to find that out, right? We only have one side of a triangle. Well, what's important here is even though you don't have right triangles, you will want to use the law of sines or law of cosines, but also you're going to want to use angle relationships. The nice thing about word problems with the cardinal directions and bearings is you have parallel lines. And remember, when you have parallel lines, that produces alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, corresponding angles. So if you know that this is 128 and this is 90, right? Well, then you know that that is going to be 38 degrees. If that's 38 degrees, then that means that is going to be 38 degrees. And if that's 295 and that's 38 degrees, then hopefully you can figure out what that angle is going to be. And then, yeah, then you have an angle, side length, and then you would have, let's see what else. That'd be 128 angle. I don't remember. You'd have this side length. And either way, you'd want to use those two angles, but that'd be enough information to be able to then go ahead and draw your triangle out from here, right? And then you could then go ahead and draw, identify. So again, I don't have all the information as far as what the word problem was. I will work on that, guys. That's me. I got to get better at providing those problems. But yeah, then you can go ahead and figure that out. So figure out that angle, and then you'll need the angle, and then you'll have two sides. So then you can use the law of cosines to figure out that side. Okay. So if you, or law of cosines or law of sines. So you have that angle, that angle. No, you need law of cosines. You probably need one more angle. There here is 128. That one's not going to work. I think that, and then that was a bearing of 295. Then you have a side. No, you'd have two sides and an angle. Yeah, two sides and an angle, they'd be law of cosines. Okay, yep. So figure out whatever that angle is. That's 30, so that's 38. That one's 38. That's 295, whatever that math is. And then, yeah, and then you have a side angle side. And that'd be enough to be able to use your law of cosines. So, law of cosines. All right, actually, you know what? I'm just going to do whatever that math is, just so you have that. 3 60 minus, I don't want to do the math in my head, minus 38, 27. There you go. So that means that is 27. So that's 27. That's 10. And then I don't know what this length is. Let's just call this 9 something. But again, then you have side angle side. So now you can use your law of cosines. All right, I will get to your questions for those of you that jumped on a little bit late, as well as review what I covered in the beginning. But I just want to kind of talk real quick about another question that I caught on my eye as far as someone saying getting distracted in online school. And one of the topics I came up with is the one of the topics I came up with during when we were kind of first quarantined was like, how to be successful in online school. And I think a couple things that I've learned as far as being the distracted is one, setting time limits and a schedule, getting up just like you would for school, getting yourself in a routine. That was, one thing when I kind of got out of a routine and I realized like that was the worst thing for me. Wow, that's really, is that light? But that was, that was really harmful. Not really harmful, but that impacted a lot. Like me being able to prepare for my classes was my ability to not have like a schedule. And I think when you kind of like get yourself in a schedule, like, what you're going to be doing even like throughout the day, just like you were at a school, like when you go like, all right, here's this period here, I'm going to focus on this and just focus on that topic. So if you are doing a math class or an English or whatever else, like, all right, I'm going to take this hour, and that is what I'm going to be doing. And even if I have extra time, either I'm going to try to do something bonus in that class, or maybe I might need another class that might need to take a little bit more time. Like I will allow that. But again, like focus those time is like, all right, for this next hour, this is all I'm going to do. Or for the next 30 minutes, I'm just going to focus on this class. And I think when you are pretty direct with your intentions, it just helps you remain focused. You're like, oh, now I want to do this. Or, oh, my friends text me. Like, no, I said I was going to focus and get this done. I already said I was going to do that. So guess what? I'm going to want to do that. And I also think just, removing distractions, removing your phone, removing, different apps, on your computer and, or, around your room and just being able to purely focus. I used to work out in the living room when just doing stuff on my computer. And then I realized like I just got so distracted. So I had to come into my studio, I call it, but it's really just an office. But yeah, so I just came in here and would work in here just so I can not hear as many sounds going around the house and focus in. But either way, guys, that is hopefully a couple little tips. I hope you guys helped out. If you came in late and you're like, wow, wait a minute, I wanted my question answered. Well, you can go ahead and submit a question every single week. I will be going live every single Sunday until school starts. And when school starts, I will be going live again. And that means the cool thing about me going live is I go live at home. So if I am at school, then I will still be going live. Or if I'm teaching at home, I'll still be going live. So, but anyways, throughout the summer, I wanted to kind of let you guys know, I am changing up my lesson delivery. I'm changing up my social media presence and just kind of, adapting to the way that things have been. Because, I've been recording myself teaching inside the classroom for the last 10 years. And it's like, all right, I haven't really made much of a change from then. And so I think there's maybe some new improvements that I can definitely make and I want to make. And I kind of look forward to doing that. So I definitely in the description, guys, have my different social media handles that I've had for a while, but I just haven't really done so much work on. But if that's something that you guys want to reach out to me on there, that as well, that's great. If you have a question that you want to submit for my next open Q&A, a lot of you guys submit questions. I know on Instagram, I receive a lot of questions, and for math guys, it just, takes you, basically my easy response is just go to my YouTube and go to this Google form to adapt from there, because, it's already busy enough on social media, but, getting a lot of different questions of people needing help. I do read all the questions that I get on those Google forms. I try to do my best on Discord. If that doesn't work for you, you can always submit on Discord, and people will help each other from there. But but yeah, that's definitely one thing I wanted to help you guys out with. All right. Yeah, what's FN? I didn't know what FN was either. I mean, I just finished high school. I think I did good though. Well, that's very good, Emmanuel. Good for you. Oh, Fortnite. um, all right. Now I'll just kind of get into your questions here for you guys. How could my tips to pass college entrance exam? I think I'm being in quarantine is disadvantage. Yeah, I would say definitely it's at a disadvantage, but everybody else is at a disadvantage. So, don't hold yourself to it. I think the main thing from, at least in my opinion, I mean, obviously I don't teach at the college level or have really any relationship to college entrance exams. But from what I've heard from my students is a lot of it is just algebra. So I would just review those algebra 2 topics. Um, and and then again, don't hold yourself, don't put too much weight on it. Do just some practice of those basic skills that, you maybe have a hard time remembering, or maybe you just need some practice on. And, just focus on a lot of those skills and relationships that you learn from there. All right. Well, hey, big brain, how are you? Navarro, 7th and 8th, I'm trying to learn high school math. Well, you'll be fine. Just, I'm in 7th and 8th grade math, but I'm trying to learn. Yeah, just, keep on going at it. I mean, math doesn't have a grade. That's the greatest thing about math is there is no grade for math. Obviously, our school system has us grouped for certain reasons, but in reality, guys, you should learn at your own pace. And so if you feel like what you're currently learning is just not moving quick enough and fast enough, then yeah, keep on pressing yourself, keep on challenging yourself, and be curious. That's one of my main things that I want people to take away from this is be curious. When you go from factoring quadratic to learning the circle of yeah, I think I said learning circle is probably the scariest part of pre-calc. No, James, because I think James is saying something about the unit circle. Don't worry about the unit circle. I'll definitely got some ideas on the unit circle, but don't overthink the unit circle. It's not so bad. At least if you know the first quadrant. I'm just kind of going back. Lily, said, thank you so much for schooling your views. Got me through geometry, pre-calc, and college algebra. Wow, you're like a student that took my class 3 times. That's awesome. School year with your views. Oh, well, that's very awesome. I actually had a student one year that I had out of her high school years. I had her 3 out of 4 years. So she got a lot of Mr. McLogan. And I think I had her every year except for her senior year where she took stats. And I joked with her that I was going to teach stats that year. But it was really good. We had a good relationship. She was a very, very bright student. And she did very well in my class. And even though I'd like to take credit for helping her with math, she did everything she needed to do to be successful. Well, thank you very much, Anastasia. I appreciate that. All right, I want to go too far back because then I had Casanova was asking, I think, can't even remember, what was your deleted message? Any tips for starting high school math? Well, and hi. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to put you on timeout. Sorry about that. But yeah, as far as, getting started with high school math, just, if your teacher, whatever teacher you have, they give you like a summer packet or just some like reviews. I mean, I just recommend doing that. I don't think there's really as much you can do, to prepare. I mean, there is no such thing as high school math. Like every high school has different math courses. Everybody that's entering high school is taking a different math course. So I'm really just rely on what your teacher or your school is providing you to prepare for that class. Some schools have stuff. They're like, hey, we want you to do this to be prepared. Some are like, we don't care what you do, whatever else, we're going to teach you. And that's kind of like the theory and mindset I'm at. Like, people are like, what do I need to do to prepare for pre-calculus? I'm like, just be you. I'll let you know. We'll do some problems. Every chapter we do like a little pre-test to let you know what to expect. But yeah, I want students to come in learning, and obviously when students struggle in pre-calculus, a lot of them aren't going to be putting in that effort into what they should be doing anyways. And again, we review everything inside in my class. We basically go through a quick little review of what students need to know anyways from there. But I would just rely on your teacher. I mean, depending on the class, depending on yourself, and again, even if it's just going back through what you previously learned, just go back through your old notes, go back through your old tests, quizzes, and just kind of review that stuff. Keep it fresh. And I think that's probably the most important thing is summer is great because I love that we still have that ability for students to be able to separate themselves from schooling and really allow their brain to grow and expand in an area outside of like traditional schooling. But on the other side of that coin, we want to make sure students are not totally forgetting everything that they learned because we are trying to build upon some of those skills and processes, then theorems and whatever else they learn. So trying to just do some nice little reviews, nothing very highly intensive, but something to keep things fresh, I think would be very helpful. All right. Tony, I found you through my math teacher. Well, that's awesome, Tony. And I love your math teacher too. Can we list limits and intermediate value theorem? I can. I'm not going to cover it tonight just because I'm over my time for the live stream. But if you want to submit it on the Google form, I'll be more than happy to cover the intermediate value theorem as well as limits. And if you have a specific question around that, that'd be cool as well. I give you full credit. Well, thank you so much for giving me some credit. But obviously, I know that you put in that work. And I think that is kudos to you for even going out there. Because, yeah, it's one thing you guys do, like, struggle, like, with math, right? But a lot of you guys are even on the live stream. If you watch my videos, like, you are putting in the effort to even learn this stuff or to get the answers or to figure out how to do something. Like, a lot of people also, like, they don't understand something, they just give up. They don't even try. So kudos to you. I mean, I appreciate all the kind words. But, definitely you guys deserve a lot of credit for putting in that effort to do what you need to do to get understanding. Math Legend said, I just want to read this. My teacher once got angry at me for learning trig. I stopped doing it for 3 months, and then I found your channel. I got inspired and started exploring once more. Well, awesome. I'm very happy to hear that I did not distract or deter you from learning trigonometry and also even helped you with that. So that's awesome. What are some concepts I should get good at understanding? So that's a little different question. I have, I think in general, I would say what are some things that students struggle with? I would say a lot of times when they're just dealing with fractions, rules of exponents, and factoring, quadratics, solving quadratics, and graphing, just basic graphing stuff. But I would say before Algebra 2, a lot of students just have trouble with functions. Functions is definitely a big part that should be introduced in Algebra 1. So I would definitely review the idea of functions, the meaning behind functions, and applying functions. Factoring, quadratics is like huge. And then just using the order of operations, rules of exponents, and then really anytime you have fractions, stuff like that. All right, guys. Well, I am going to end this live stream. I will be back again next Sunday. And also I will be on my other social media out there. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in tonight. And I look forward to seeing you guys on next week. All right, guys. Have a great night. I'll see you guys there. Melinda, I joined the Discord again. I got annoyed with all the spam. Yeah, I know, Melinda. I'm working on that. We're going to get that fixed. I know. I'm going to get those moderators. Don't worry about that. I got it. 9 p.m. Sunday. All right. Cheers. Yeah, I got to fix that Discord. I'll be doing that. I swear. Cheers. No, where's the other thing?